Assalamu alaikum kids. So inshallah in today's video we will add two vectors using the head to tail rule. To add vectors using the head to tail rule, we need to first scale the vectors and draw them. Alright. So let's take a look at an example question. A man travels 6 kilometers north and 8 kilometers east. Draw a diagram to find the displacement of the man and direction of the displacement. Now, as discussed before, the length of the vectors that we want to draw, or the length of the arrows to represent vectors that we want to draw, must be between 4 and 10 centimeters. Hence, the length of the scale we choose for this question is 1 centimeter is equals to 1 kilometer, or 1 kilometer displacement should be drawn as 1 centimeter, or an arrow of length 1 centimeter. Well, according to that, we need to divide our vectors with the scale. So vector A, which was 6 kilometers north displacement, becomes 6 divided by 1, hence 6 centimeters in length. Vector B was 8 kilometers east, 8 divided by 1 is 8 centimeters in length. So our vector A is going to be 6 centimeters in length. Our vector B is going to be 8 centimeters in length, and we are going to move towards drawing these vectors. To draw vector A, we are going to use a scale, a simple ruler, alright, and we are going to draw a line measuring 6 centimeters, and of course, because the vector A was in the direction north, we are going to draw an arrow in the same direction. Drawing vector B is again exactly the same process. We are going to use a scale, and we are going to draw a line 8 centimeters in length, but because vector B was due east, again we got to make the arrow in the same direction. To add the two vectors, we first need to draw the resultant vector. The resultant vector is the actual sum of the two vectors, the vector A and the vector B, right? So how do we find the resultant vector, or how do we draw the resultant vector? Well, that's simple. So what we are going to do is we are going to join the tail of vector A with the head of the vector B. Now the arrow is the head, so the tail of vector B is right here, and the head of vector A is right here. So we use a ruler to draw the resultant vector. This right here is the resultant vector in front of you. Now, as we can see, you can measure the length of the resultant vector and convert it back to displacement. The length of the resultant vector is 10 centimeters. Initially, we divided the vector to get the length of the arrow. This time we have the length of the resultant vector. We need to multiply with the scale to get back our vector. So the resultant vector is going to be 10 kilometers in displacement. Well, having found out the magnitude of the resultant vector, the next important thing to find is the direction of the resultant vector, which can easily be done using a simple protractor. We can see that our angle of the resultant vector is somewhere in the vicinity of 53 degrees. So that's going to be our direction. Well, one additional thing to do is to make sure that you're using the correct term. You need to give the angle as a bearing. So in this case, your 53 degrees is actually from the north itself. Hence, the direction is going to be bearing 053. And kids, this is how you're going to add two vectors using the head to tail rule. Hope that all of this makes sense. Inshallah, I'll see you in the next one. Bars out.